I mean, there's no more complete circle than that. That's the challenge, you know? I was around motorcycles, I mean, since I can remember, really. It's kind of been in my blood. When I was 18, I was like a drug addiction, man. Nothing else in my life really mattered a whole lot. It was like, I'm gonna go out and ride and race and try and win. So that's what I did for about 10 years. And I didn't know I was going to be a national champion, and I didn't know that I'd end up winning national road races and breaking track records and racing at the highest level. I really wanted to go and make something of myself that didn't really have to do with anybody else, because I knew that no one would be able to take that away from me, you know? Pushing myself seems kind of like a way of life. Every time I was on a bike, I'd push, and I'd always push past the limit, and now I really get the majority of my satisfaction from creation. I don't know, some people call me one of the top builders, I guess I am, but what's different is in this realm of building motorcycles, it's not about being the best as much as it's about just creating and wanting to build new stuff and cool stuff. To constantly innovate is the challenge, always doing something new and different. And today it's so tough because there's so many people building really great things, it's hard to stand out, you know? So you gotta constantly push. Creating something, it is about bringing something to life. A motorcycle to me is like the personification of that, because it like involves so many different things. It involves art, fabrication, design, engineering, rubber, steel, aluminum, titanium, paint, wood, whatever you can throw at it. So motorcycles are to me like the finest display of bringing an idea to life, making it real, making something you can actually touch, feel, and ride. That's what it's all about. Being on a bike for me is just essential to life. It's the purest expression of freedom and mobility. The faster you go, the harder you ride, the harder you push. You feel it so much more on a motorcycle. If you're going 100 miles an hour, you know it. It's draining physically, but also mentally, because you put so much focus into it. When you're on a bike, it strips everything else away. It just makes anything else in your life disappear. I'll never be away from bikes. It's just what I do, what my family does, what everyone I know does, so safe to say I'll be around for a little while. I don't see any other way for me personally but to just go after it every day. It just makes sense to me, so that's what I do. Life is one big project. You gotta hit it every day.
Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty White. Also, another number that's easier for you to remember is 888 Car Clinic. Miss Jan is in her routine. Good morning, Miss Jan. Good morning, folks. We are here at Car Clinic at the center of the automotive universe, and we'll take your calls. We'll talk cars. I'm just reviewing the sales figures for all the OEMs through July, and it's very interesting. I'll give you some stats when I come back from the hard break. I won't try to cram all those numbers in, but it's really interesting to see that the number one top-selling increase year-to-date vehicle is a Jeep. And that's that's the Jeep line. Now I'm not sure. It's not broken down as far as a Jeep. And that's that's the Jeep line. Now I'm not sure. It's not broken down as far as which particular automobile, but I think it's very interesting, and we'll share that with you. And I'll take your calls as well at 888-227-2546. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Royal Purple. I want to tell a quick story. Viper, 2001, brand new car. Loved the car, ordered it, had it made special, shortened the gear shift, bulky shifter, always was, has the Tremax 6-speed transmission. I tried additives, tried everything, finally put in Royal Purple Synchro Max, and I can tell you it's unbelievable. It literally just slides into gear, and that's been some time ago, and it's still shifting to this date, some 10, 12, 13 years later, just as it did brand new. Also, new oil's out, and a new oil change interval. I'll be back to tell you all about it. I'm Bobby Likis with today's Fact or Friction, brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance lubricants that outperform. Fact or Friction, vehicles with lots of miles can benefit from specially formulated oil. Fact. Yes, the aging process affects vehicular bodies, just as it does human bodies. Our parts wear and our valves harden. Same with your vehicle. Just think about the extreme heat, friction, and oxidation your engine is subjected to as it racks up miles and months. So if your vehicle's odometer tops 75,000, look for oil specifically formulated to revitalize. Like Royal Purple tops 75,000, look for oil specifically formulated to revitalize. Like Royal Purple's new HMX high mileage motor oil. HMX is fortified with robust zinc, phosphorus, anti-wear additives, and Royal Purple's Centerlink technology to minimize wear, revitalize hardened seals, and restore lost engine performance. When choosing oil for your vehicle, consider Royal Purple. Visit royalpurple.com and pick up Royal Purple at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly. If stubborn bugs and road grime are making it difficult to see what's ahead, let Rain-X Bug Remover Windshield Washer Fluid clear the way. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today and buy 2 gallons of Rain-X Bug Remover Windshield Washer Fluid for $6. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
How can you improve battery performance? Make sure your next battery has PowerFrame grid technology, a more advanced kind of positive grid technology that's designed to combat the common causes of premature battery failure. PowerFrame grid technology is formed from a single sheet of precisely rolled and stamped metal. This patented manufacturing process makes the battery more resistant to corrosion. Look for the PowerFrame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit powerframe.com to find a retailer near you.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
It straddles the line between timeless classic and modern luxury.
The grape tomato.
The ruby red in a sea of greens. The muse behind the great chef, Boyardee.
Beefaroni. Mi amore.
Oh, tomato. Are you fruit? Are you vegetable?
What is identity?
Groceries, essentials, signature value.
The Everyday Collection by Target.
Hey, Todd. Where's our sub?
Oh, Samantha. I've already given my sub to Sally.
What? Sally? Hey, Samantha. How could you?
I got a phone call. Todd,
Men.
this is Todd.
Get your own steak and bacon melt with mountains of juicy steak and melty cheese. Subway Steak Melts. Subway, eat fresh.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome to today's broadcast. Glad to have you join us here from the center of the automotive universe. The entire Car Clinic team wishes you a great week and hope that your car is running well. Hope that you're taking care of your automobile because you are, after all, the person who hope that you're taking care of your automobile because you are, after all, the person who writes the check, the person who decides when and where it gets serviced, and that's really important. One of the things that you can do that will save you money is tune in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, because when I get calls, and I do, and we've got callers waiting, and I'll be, Ann and Mike, I'm coming to you soon. One of the things that you do when you tune into Car Clinic, whether or not you're a caller, is to eavesdrop, and you hear calls from across the nation. When someone has a car problem or a car question, we solve that problem, or at least we discuss it and create next steps. And that's what my goal is to direct you and give you buzzwords so that when you go to your local service shop, whether it's an independent service facility or a chain store or a new car facility, a dealership, you have you have buzzwords. You know how to talk to lingo. And I don't mean verbatim, but you know the right questions to ask. Sort of like when you go to a doctor, you never know the right question until you leave, and you say, I wish I had. So you stick with me and ride along with me this hour, and I'll give you some buzzwords, and you won't wish you had because you'll have the information that you need. And speaking of information, I mentioned Royal Purple during the show open, and I want to share with you, it's a revelation, but it's not to me, but it will be to you. The API certified oils from Royal Purple, the premium, they are warranty compliant oils from Royal Purple. The premium, they are warranty compliant oils for newer engines, and also all formulations come with a Royal Purple 1 year, 1 oil change pledge. For more information, I'll know you want more information, especially you fellows out there that change your oil, twice, 3 times a year, whether you drive 5,000 miles or not. The bottom line is, here's a 1 year, 1 oil change pledge from Royal Purple. You can go to royalpurpleconsumer.com or royalpurple.com, or just simply Google it, or go to our site, either, whatever's easiest for you. And for you fellows that have and ladies that have the high performance vehicles that you just love, the HPS keeps your high performance engine clean and powerful. And then for most of us, well, I say most of us, we each of us probably has a car that has more than 75 or 100,000 miles. The Royal Purple HMX revitalizes your high mileage vehicle and extends the engine life even farther out. So for more information, go to royalpurpleconsumer.com, or just tune in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, and I'll give you the information.
Yeah, and another great place to get information is their Facebook. Marlena does a great job on their Facebook.
She's the guru. Marlena
Sensei, isn't that what they call her? The Sensei?
Sensei,
Social media Sensei.
Social media Sensei. It's on her door. There's a picture of it, and you can see that on Facebook.
Social media Sensei.
Social media Sensei. It's on her door. There's a picture of it, and you can see that on Facebook. And that's they put that on her, above her door. And it's unbelievable, but what she does for Royal Purple, what she does for social media. I mean, Royal Purple, that's one thing, but she is the social sensei, as you say, Tony. Thank you so much, and take a look at Royal Purple's Facebook, and also yours truly, Facebook. And did we released one more? And Ann, I'm coming to you in Louisiana. Would we release the Mazda MX-5 video? We did, or did we?
Yes, we did. It's on YouTube.
It's on our YouTube. You may have heard me mention that the Kia K900 is a car that Kia sent to us, and then I drove the Cadillac ELR down to the Villages for the great race, the final day, and then a week later, a Miata MX-5 shows up at the center of the automotive universe. We kept it for a week. That one almost got me in trouble, not from driving, because my wife wanted that car. Now, is that not a fact, Tony? Did she not flip out over that car?
The second it pulled in, she walked out, and you see her creeping around. First thing I thought was, Bobby's going to have to buy one.
Well,
he's going to have to.
I couldn't figure out. I mean, the Miata's not it doesn't have the screens. It doesn't have all the it's high tech as far as engine and clean emissions and power and 6-speed and almost 50-50 weight distribution. It drives, well, you have to go to power and 6-speed and almost 50-50 weight distribution. It drives, well, you have to just go to Facebook or YouTube, right?
Yeah, Facebook or YouTube.
Facebook or YouTube, and you'll see our release, or just Google Bobby Likis and Miata MX-5, and you'll find it there. Anyway, I was honored to be able to road test these vehicles, and it wasn't just your typical. I didn't go out to a racetrack and say, oh, it's 0 to 60. Who cares? I did real world tests where you just get in the car and drive it. And for me, I had these cars a week, and I went to New Orleans, other side of New Orleans, and back in the Kia, and I went to South Florida to the villages in the Cadillac. That was an interesting trip. Electric Cadillac. We'll talk about that another day, but the bottom line, lots of fun. All of these videos, and Tony did a whale of a job on all the videos, and I just simply shared with you through the videos that Tony produced what I felt were significant assets for these automobiles. Nothing technical, no bore stroke compression ratio. I mean, that's, that who cares? I mean, I care. But really, when you're looking at a car, it's what is the net of it, Anyway, thanks for tuning in today. We're going to take calls and get started here. I want to remind you that this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by K&N, and I want you to know that K&N is the original performance air filter of NASCAR. And I want you to know that K&N is the original performance air filter of NASCAR. And I want you to know that K&N is the original performance filter of UWA. And K&N is in my cars, not just car. It's in all my cars. Okay, we'll take a look, and let's go to Ann. Ann, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding. What can I do for you today?
You're welcome. I enjoy your show. I'm not mechanically minded, but I have picked up some good tips on how to care for my car.
Perfect statement, and that's what I like.
2010 Mercury Grand Marquis.
Okay.
I bought used about 2 years ago. It had 48,000 miles. I have put barely 10,000 miles on it. I'm a very low mileage driver, just within the city. And unfortunately, after I bought the car, I read the Consumer Reports magazine, which specifically said to avoid my particular model and year. Anyway, no engine problems. However, the dashboard electronics are really wacky. My mileage indicator will not stay on. It will come on when I start the engine, when I do the ignition.
Right.
I had the oil changed. Do the ignition.
Right.
I had the oil changed. I drove out, and I got a reading on my dashboard, oil change required, and the mechanic could not fix it, could not reset it. Also, I get the, the tire sensor fault reading. I took it into the Ford dealership here. They could not work on it that day. They said it was okay to ride on it for a while, and said if the sensor reading indicated one tire would be $80 per tire, or they didn't know if it would just be one or all four tires.
Mm-hmm.
Then my radio suddenly starts cycling without any kind of don't touch it. It just starts all of a sudden cycling through a bunch of stations.
Okay, let me stop you right here.
Okay.
Number one, there are valid individual reasons for every complaint that you have with this car so far, and if you have a pen, because Ann, I'd like for you to write this down. Okay, this car has, number one, a body control module.
Body control module.
BCM, that's what they're called. And the body control module.
Body control module.
BCM, that's what they're called. And the body control module controls the functions of every accessory and every one of the electrical features that you talked about. Now, I do want you to know this. It is possible, just possible, that you have a bad sensor in the tire, and that's the reason the TPS, the tire pressure monitoring system, came on. So you could have a bad tire sensor, and that would cause that problem. So let's don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Let's don't say that you have a bad BCM here, a body control module, because you could have, you definitely could have a tire pressure monitor, and that can be tested. Now, that's one thing. Here's something else. It is just possible that somebody hit the scan button on the radio. And if you hit the scan button on the radio, and even if you didn't know it, I mean, you could accidentally do it, then it would tune to a station, and then it would tune to another station, and then it would continue to scan until you hit the scan button twice. So I just want you to know, and I feel like that you need to ride with the technician. And let me ask this question just quickly. Did you stop the radio from scanning, or did you touch the radio to stop it, or do anything, or does it just continue to run and run and run and scan stations?
Yeah, if I hit
run and run and run and scan stations.
Yeah, if I hit the I do hit one of the buttons.
Okay.
To get
Okay. All right. See, that's, you know what I'm going to ask you to do, Ann, and I'm going to ask you to hold, because I want you to really know what's going on here. So I'll take a quick break, come back, and we'll talk with Ann. Whether you're a DIYer or a brake professional, be sure your brake job is complete by replacing all the brake hardware with Carlson quality brake hardware. Why? A brake job is more than simply replacing shoes and pads. Fact is, when you also replace springs, clips, and other hardware parts that hold all brake components in place, your brakes will perform better and last longer. It's a small investment to ensure your brake job is complete and done right. Invest in the best. Invest in Carlson quality brake hardware kits with every brake job.
O'Reilly.
If stubborn bugs and road grime are making it difficult to see what's ahead, let Rain-X Bug Remover Windshield Washer Fluid clear the way. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today and buy 2 gallons of Rain-X Bug Remover Windshield Washer Fluid for $6. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This mailbag is brought to you by K&N, the world's best air filter. From Jeff in Richmond. Bobby, I'm getting my car ready for a family trip. Last year, I took your advice and installed a Jeff in Richmond. Bobby, I'm getting my car ready for a family trip. Last year, I took your advice and installed a K&N air filter, and I was very pleased with the increased performance and horsepower. Before we hit the road this year, I figure it's time to clean the filter. How do I properly do that? Jeff, nothing like a family road trip, and I'm glad to hear about the performance and horsepower gains K&N provided. For cleaning your filter, best recommendation is to go to knfilters.com and enter cleaning in the search bar. Thumb through the search results and you'll find photos that compare filters that do need to be cleaned with those that don't. Could be your K&N filter doesn't need cleaning yet, so check it out. If your filter does need attention, K&N makes a cleaning kit that's designed specifically for that purpose. Remember, don't use compressed air to blow out the dirt or to dry the filter after cleaning. Go to knfilters.com for the step-by-step cleaning procedure and for all the reasons why K&N is the world's best air filter.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
When we play a game together, I probably won't say, "Thanks for making me the focus of all your attention and energy." I'll just give you a hug when I get a triple word score in Scrabble, or do a little dance as I make my first million in the game of life. And I may not say, "Hey, this means a lot to me." I may not say it, but you'll know.
Parker Brothers and Milton Bradley invite you to plan a family game night for your family tonight. Everybody who plays wins.
Mom, Dad, thanks for playing.
We'll be back with more music, but first a look at weather. Here's
Mom, Dad, thanks for playing.
We'll be back with more music, but first a look at weather. Here's meteorologist Tom Sparks.
Thanks, Chad. There's a front moving in from the south, which is going to mix with warm air, giving us the distinct possibility for showers over the next few days. In fact, some of them are going to be big soakers, let me tell you. However, if you're planning any outdoor activities for the weekend, I have good news.
So it's going to be clear?
No, I just saved a bunch of money on car insurance by switching to Geico.
See what you could save. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And thanks for riding through the break with me. I want to reach out to KGOZ 101.7 FM in Trenton, Missouri. John Anthony and Tom Johnson, General Manager and Program Director. If that's your neck of the woods, let me hear from you at 888 Car Clinic, KGOZ 101.7 Trenton, Missouri. We're talking with Ann, who has a 2010 Grand Marquis. with some electronic problems. And so, Miss Ann, you still with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here's what I figure. I figure you could have a body control module that would affect all of the above. But rather than to toss the baby out with the bathwater and say, oh, we got to have a new module, which I don't believe that you have, you could have individual component problems. And one of those module, which I don't believe that you have, you could have individual component problems. And one of those problems might not even be a problem, getting back specifically to the radio. If you had hit the scan, or someone had hit the scan button and you didn't know it, it would continue to flip through stations until you stopped it. So
well, I know there are times I have not touched the radio, and I always leave it on one station.
Right.
So
car clinic station, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying that you ride along for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and it's on the same station, then all of a sudden it starts flipping stations by itself.
Correct.
Well, that sounds like a radio problem to me, because the body control module doesn't control the inner functions of the radio. It may control the lighting and some other functions on the radio, but I don't see that the BCM would control the scan or the station seek. I think that's internal in the radio. I find it so irregular that you would have a radio problem, and then you would have a speedometer problem, and then you would have a tire pressure monitoring system problem. So there's no question. You need more testing performed. I guess my question to you is, the dealer, what did the dealer say about, I know they told you that it might be $80 for a tire pressure sensor that was defective.
Per tire, yeah.
Per tire?
Yeah.
Well, they're not all bad. They're not all bad. Tire pressure sensors don't all go bad.
Yeah.
Well, they're not all bad. They're not all bad. Tire pressure sensors don't all go bad. Maybe one gets damaged or one goes bad, but that just doesn't happen. So they can test to see which one is communicating with the car, because they're individual tire pressure. They're little monitors inside the wheel that using a radio frequency reach out to the car, and so the car's computer. So each wheel, each tire sends its own signal to the computer, and including, and not maybe in your Marquis, but in some cars, even the spare tire. So you could even have a spare tire unit that's bad, and someone say, yeah, you got a bad, the light would come on, the same light. In some cars, like GM has, they're individualized. So you have left front, left rear, right. My car has individualized spare. But anyway, you need more local help. So I don't know exactly what to say to you, except that you've got to find someone who will spend the time and give you more information. And also, you also need to make sure that, and this is where the technology comes in, so I want you to understand, I believe that with using the factory or equivalent scan tool, and that will be an ASE certified independent service shop or the dealer, either or. I believe that certified independent service shop or the dealer, either or. I believe that the body control module and or the onboard modules need to be reprogrammed or updated, and Ford Motor Company allows that to happen through its website, well, not Ford.com, but through its technical website. So that's what I would recommend, that you go back to the dealer and have a meeting with the service department, the service manager, or the technician who is going to reprogram your car, and say, I've got all these issues. Would you check for any updates and upgrades on my car? So that's what I would recommend for you to do, to talk with the service directors of your Ford dealership. You got it?
Yes, sir. I'm writing it down. I have one last quick question. If the body control module needs to be replaced, what kind of
it won't be. It will be reprogrammed.
Expense?
It can be reprogrammed. And that's what. Hey, folks, and we've got Kate Carr on the line, so I have to shift gears here, but you can reprogram that. And Kate Carr, folks, is the president and CEO of Safe Kids Worldwide. You've heard about a lot of children that are losing their lives in hot cars, and the Safe Kids Worldwide is a global nonprofit dedicated to protecting children from preventable injuries. The number one killer of kids, as I said, in the United States, protecting children from preventable injuries. The number one killer of kids, as I said, in the United States, and that's just has to be prevented. I want to welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, Kate Carr.
Bobby, thanks so much for having me on again.
Your message is an important one, and you're most welcome. Tell our Car Clinic listeners and viewers about Safe Kids and the ACT initiative to help prevent heat stroke in children.
Well, Safe Kids has been around for 27 years, and our focus is on the number one killer of kids, which happens to be an injury that is preventable. Now, one of those is heat stroke, and heat stroke in 2013 killed 44 kids, 44 families whose lives were devastated because their child was either left intentionally or unintentionally or got into a car on their own. To focus on this, Safe Kids has a campaign that we do year after year because this problem is just not going away. It's rather stubborn. And the General Motors Foundation is supporting us. We work with the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Auto Alliance to get the word out that we can ACT. That's our acronym, ACT. A, avoid by never leaving a child alone in a car, not even for a minute, and always locking your car, making sure that a child can't get in, have access to the keys or the car fob, and use the car as a playground. The C is for create reminders. Put something up and use the car as a playground. The C is for create reminders. Put something in the back seat that you need at your final destination. A wallet, a cell phone, a purse, your left shoe, something you're not going to leave the car without, especially if you're out of your normal routine. And then the T is for take action, and that's something we can all do. If we see a child in a locked vehicle, windows up, even if they're open a little crack, we know the inside of that car is going to heat up as much as 20 degrees in as little as 10 minutes. Now, on a hot day, that could be enough to really put that child at risk of dying. So we want everyone to take action by calling 911 if they see a child alone in a vehicle, and emergency personnel will help them do the right thing so that that child will be safe.
Well, Kate, you would think with all the recent media coverage, involving fatalities in children due to being left in hot cars, there would be fewer cases. What's the best way to reach parents and adults to help prevent further tragedies?
Bobby, you're doing exactly what we need. We need to make parents and family members and caregivers and everyone, in fact, since we can all take action, aware of the circumstances of this. In more than 50% of the cases, the driver was doing something out of their routine and just went about their normal day. Instead of turning right to go to daycare, they turned left and went to their office. And they just went about their normal day. Instead of turning right to go to daycare, they turned left and went to their office. And they forgot they had to make their most important stop of the day to drop off their child. So we have to emphasize that human behavior needs to be adapted. We don't have a technology solution just yet. We'd love to have one. There isn't one on the market that has been demonstrated to be foolproof. And even if we had a device, that's not going to stop every one of these tragedies because half of them are kids intentionally left in a car or who get into a car on their own. So we've got a tough situation, and we have to make everyone aware of it and take the actions that you need, kind of like buckling up your seatbelt.
We're talking to Kate Carr, President and CEO of Safe Kids Worldwide. Kate, what makes children particularly susceptible to heat stroke, and how does it affect them exponentially when they're left in vehicles?
Kids are more vulnerable to heat stroke. They heat up 3 to 5 times faster than an adult. They can't cool themselves as we do. We have a built-in air conditioning system, and it's called sweating, and kids have a smaller body surface, so they can't cool themselves as fast as an adult. And a young child can't open the door or put down the window, so we know that they're more vulnerable. When their body temperature reaches 103 degrees, internal organs are starting to shut down, and at 107 degrees, they're at risk of dying. So very quickly, inside of cars heat up, kids' bodies heat up, and it can be so very quickly, inside of cars heat up, kids' bodies heat up, and it can be a real calamity.
Kate, you mentioned that 27 years organization, the Safe Kids Worldwide, and of course the work that your organization is doing is not only commendable, but it's essential to reduce the number of deaths. We also want to, at this time, give a special thanks to the GM Foundation, to Auto Alliance, and to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. All together, that's an organization and a list of organizations that do their best, and they're individuals such as this lady we're talking with right now, Kate Carr, who's the president and CEO of Safe Kids Worldwide, who lives and breathes this information every day and works to prevent. So at this time, Kate, I just have one last question. Explain to our Car Clinic listeners and viewers the steps, the actions, the practices that adults should be taking to ensure that their children are safe.
The first thing to do is everybody should be buckled up, and in terms of heat stroke, we want to remind everyone to never leave a child alone in a car, not even for a minute, no matter what the temperature is. The risk to that child, whether it's hot or cold, is far too great. And so we want everyone to have a safe ride when they're out there, to be able to get to their destination safely with everyone intact. It's so important that we think about what we can do to prevent heat stroke, and our acronym ACT is what we recommend. A, avoid heat stroke by never leaving your child alone in a car, not even for a minute. What we recommend. A, avoid heat stroke by never leaving your child alone in a car, not even for a minute. And remembering to lock your car and to keep the keys or the key fob away from a young child. Cars are not a playground. Teach them that. The C is for create a reminder. Put something that you need at your final destination in the back seat with the car seat. A cell phone, a briefcase, a purse, your wallet, your shoe, something you're not going to leave the car without, and that'll be a good reminder. And then the T is for take action. Anyone can take action. If you see a child alone in a vehicle, windows up, and car locked, call 911. Emergency personnel are trained to respond, and they want to respond to a near miss, not to a fatality. So make that call. You could save a life.
Absolutely. Kate Carr, President and CEO of Safe Kids Worldwide, a website so that we can get more information, Kate.
You can find information about heat stroke on our website at safekids.org, or look for us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter. We have lots of great tips for families in many, many areas that will be quite useful.
Kate, thank you so much for joining us on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Folks, you heard what Kate Carr said. Take action and make something not happen. Save a child. If you see an action or you see an opportunity, take action. Kate, it's great to have you with us again. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Bobby. It's always great to be a guest on your show.
How cool is that?
Thank you, Bobby. It's always great to be a guest on your show.
How cool is that? She is a whale of a person who really saves lives. Back with your calls at Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. We have Mike in New York coming to you next. Don't touch that dial. Let's go to our Car Clinic inbox for another listener question. Dear Bobby, I'm confused. Are radar detectors legal? Yes. Good news is that radar detectors are entirely legal in 49 states. Only Virginia and the District of Columbia still have radar detector use prohibitions. Legal in 49 states because the modern view of radar detectors is far beyond ticket avoidance. Rather, radar detectors are now regarded as safety devices, providing increased and advanced driving awareness. For example, when you have an advanced warning of a potential road hazard, such as a law enforcement officer conducting a traffic stop on the side of the road, you won't be surprised on your approach, and you won't be involved in any sudden braking or loss of control mid-course response. A really good radar detector, such as the award-winning Passport Max all-digital radar detector, alerts drivers before they're surprised with stops up ahead. With a Passport Max high-definition radar detector from Escort, you can drive smarter, and you can drive safer.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
This is Tom. What's up? Sitting in his cubicle.
Clinic.
This is Tom. What's up? Sitting in his cubicle.
Actually, it's called a workstation.
Whatever. Tom is slowly dying in his workstation.
I mean, aren't we all dying, really, if you think about it?
Let's not get philosophical, Tom. Just go to careerbliss.com. Follow companies that you find. Apply to openings right online. Check salaries and read reviews. Score a career that's perfect for you.
I feel alive!
Choose happy. Careerbliss.com.
I'm your blind spot. And my job is easy. Hide big things.
You're good.
And if you named your own price on car insurance, you could be paying for this yourself. So get Allstate. You can save money and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Dollar for dollar. Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate agents.
And now for the bonus round. If Rome wasn't built in a day, how long did it take?
3 business days. Oh, plus 1 Saturday.
Correct. A good man is hard to find. Why?
Because he's so small.
Correct. Netflix delivers movies by mail, and now what other way?
Directly to your TV.
Correct! Netflix now delivers movies 2 ways, instantly to your TV, plus DVDs by mail. Watch as many TV episodes and movies as you want for only $9 a month. Netflix! See terms of use.
It's Practical Polly Radio.
The movies as you want for only $9 a month. Netflix! See terms of use.
It's Practical Polly Radio. I've switched to cooking with healthier oils. So now what do I do with all these tubs of lard? Skinny jeans feeling too tight? A bit of lard on your hips and thighs, and those pants slide on like a dream. So there's no need for that lard to go to waste. But get your best heart-healthy trade-up with healthier oils, like canola, olive, or other vegetable oils, which can actually lower your chances for heart disease. Learn more at heart.org/facethefats. Canola Info is the national supporter of the American Heart Association's Face the Fats campaign.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And it's great to have you join us on Car Clinic today. Remember, every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time, we bring automotive information your way, and I have a ton of information that I've yet to touch. But we have Mike, who's been most patient in New York. We're going to take a call from Mike, and then I'm going to share with you information about car sales and also about the Hellcat Challenger, the new SRT from Chrysler, 707 horsepower. Wow. We'll compare it to some Vipers and some other cars. Mike, thanks for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Great show, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Mike.
I've got a 2001 Ford E350. It's a cube van, and I've only got about 60,000 miles on it.
Okay.
And here's the problem that just started this summer. And I've only got about 60,000 miles on it.
Okay.
And here's the problem that just started this summer is when you're driving along, the shifter, the arm that comes out, has a button on it that turns your overdrive on and off.
Right.
That light is flashing. Now, I've tested it. It still works fine. It's just that there's a light right there that's supposed to be on when it's on, and it's just flashing. I brought it into my mechanic, and he said it just shows a transmission error, but he can't find anything wrong with the transmission. So
I'm going to
what
say
do I have?
I believe it to be in the transmission control module, because that's a common problem that Terry Elm is our ASE certified technician, and we have more than one, but he is the lead technician in our service shop, and he spends 90% of his time, if not 99% of his time, literally reprogramming body control modules. If you listened earlier to the lady that I talked with from Louisiana, had a challenge with her 2010 Mercury, and so your E350 has a computer that it takes its cue from that button. Now, I guess the question that I would have for you, when that light flashes, can you say, Mike, whether or not it's is like a sequential flasher, or does it just like flash, erratic flash, or does it have a timed flash?
No, it's flashing like, say, about 2 flashes a second.
Will it have a timed flash?
No, it's flashing like, say, about 2 flashes a second.
Well, that tells me that it's receiving an erroneous signal. The fact that when you hit it, the unit still works proves that mechanically your vehicle is okay, but electronically it's not, and there's got to be either a sensor or a program. And I tend to, we actually, we being the crew at our service shop, Bobby Likis Car Clinic Service Pre-Repair, stands for the prevention of repair, by the way. We kid Terry all the time because a car will come in with windshield wipers bad, and we'll say, well, Terry, you need to reprogram this car. But he's so right, and he's helped us and so many of our customers with his capability and his training and his savvy. And the longer, the longer and the more deeply we go into high-tech world of automotive control, the better he gets, because that's where he lives. And so I'm going to share with you, I know you're in New York and we're in the Gulf Coast. I'm not saying that come to the center of the automotive universe, you're already here, on the phone. But I'm going to say that what I would recommend for you, and because you went to your mechanic and he couldn't find a challenge, understand not all scan tools are the same. He couldn't find a challenge. Understand not all scan tools are the same. In fact, it's almost essential today that if you have a Ford, you use a Ford scan tool, and that's a dealership. If you have a Mercedes, you use a Mercedes scan tool, and that's a dealership. Or if you go to an independent service shop, they have to incorporate and have a professional scan tool that works. Now, let me give you just a quick example, Mike. We just spent $1,000. Well, it was one of those $995. $1,000 for software so that we could reprogram Lexus and Toyota, and that came about because we had to replace a simple door lock in a Lexus. You know, the little, when you push the key fob down, the door locks automatically and opens automatically.
Yep, sure.
Okay, well, the driver's door lock solenoid was bad, so we put a new one in it. But it didn't work, because when you replace that door lock solenoid, it's not just an act of locking and unlocking the door. Instead of having 2 wires, it had 6 wires, and it had to be initialized. It had to be introduced to the car, and here's why. In an accident, you see, today's cars, when the airbag goes off, unlocks the doors for the first responders. Today's cars, when the airbag goes off, unlocks the doors for the first responders. And so when you replace a door lock, that door lock has to be introduced and programmed to join hands and communicate. There's a word I'm looking for. Communicate with the car's onboard electronics and safety electronics. So as it is with door locks and Lexus, your transmission button is with its transmission control and its engine controller. So I'm going to say to you that either a Ford dealership or an ASE certified shop that has the right tools and training can diagnose and properly diagnose. And what you may have, you could have high resistance in some circuit. I won't even go into what you may have, because it's endless what could be the problems that are simple once you find them. You know, it's like a needle in the haystack. How large is the haystack and how small is the needle? So
at this point, best thing you think is just to go to the actual dealership, so make sure it's diagnosed properly.
Well, I think that. Well, yes, I think that. I think you said you're a mechanic, but it's my concern that your mechanic might not have the programmable scan tool, because number one, that equipment is a $5,000 to $10,000 investment and requires, on average, $1,500 a year just to update that, and requires on average $1,500 a year just to update that year, that tool. So you know, it's like you buy a computer, and then what's the first thing you do? You go online and update it. Well, that's almost the same way it is for cars these days. So I'm just saying to you, my concern is not to replace any parts, and I'm not, suggesting replacement of parts. I'm suggesting that you get a second opinion from someone who has the right scan tool that can communicate with your onboard electronic architecture. Do you understand what I'm?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I do recall him thinking that it was a sensor, but it didn't necessarily read that. But that's what he thought it was a sensor.
Well, the bottom line is, with the right tool, he can read the sensors. With the right tool, he can test. He can make that system operate. In fact, it's really way cool. You can plug in the right tool, and with the engine shut off, and you can fire the fuel pump. You can unlock the door. I mean, it's unreal. You can make the car dance. And we had someone on from Forbes magazine, I don't know, a year or so ago, and we're talking about hackers, and these two IT guys were in this car, and this gentleman was driving this Prius, and these hackers, now understand, Mike, they had already gotten access to the dash, so they were into the wiring of the car. But what it was all about was it was showing that the more we go into electronics, the maybe easier it is for hackers. And that the more we go into electronics, the maybe easier it is for hackers. And that's maybe, and the good news is we know that, so we're all the time, we being the OEMs, are all the time trying to hack what we build so that we can fix it so it can't be hacked. I mean, that's progress. That's
sure
progress.
Is.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
It really is.
I really appreciate advice, and I will get that into a dealership.
Okay, and I would appreciate if you, once you get on the other side of your challenge, if you would ring us up on another Saturday and say, guess what that was, and here's what we found, because then we truly have come 360 degrees, and because you're not the only person with an E350 that's got this problem. So if you and we collectively solve this problem, then we help hundreds of people across the nation. So anyway, hey, thanks for your confidence in me, and nice talking with you.
Okay, thank you. Have a great day.
You
Bye-bye.
too. Folks, this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Power Frame Grid Technology. Batteries may all look the same from the outside, but it's what's inside that really matters. Get a battery with the technology to be stronger and more dependable. Look for the Power Frame logo on the outside of your next battery, and you can learn more at powerframe.com. Okay, I share next battery, and you can learn more at powerframe.com. Okay, I shared with you some information, but here's some things that you really need to know. Sweepstakes. Don't forget about the latest Car Clinic sweepstakes. It's another Bobby's Big Gas sweepstakes. The prizes include, from yours truly, a $500 gas card, a Passport Max radar laser detector from Escort. That's a $550 value. A Royal Purple leather lambskin jacket. And from our friends at the Renewable Fuels Association, the ethanol folks, a $250 Visa card. You can simply go to carclinicsweepstakes.com, answer one of the questions. There are 7 opportunities there. And just for FYI, all of our past winners have answered all 7 questions, and they're really easy, like what color is Royal Purple oil? What color is it, Tony? It's
I'm going to go with purple.
Okay.
And so we don't want to give away the answer.
No.
That's part of the,
I know it is. But it's fun. It's fun to do. What's really fun is when we call you up and say, by the way, you just won a $500 gas card from Bobby Likis Car Clinic. So go to Car Clinic Sweepstakes. The deadline is August 20. Only a few more sweepstakes. The deadline is August 20. Only a few more weeks to qualify. You don't want to miss your chance. Go to carclinicsweepstakes.com. Also, I want to share with you, you can get social with me at facebook.com/Bobby Likis. We've got new videos on the Miata MX-5 review that I drove. I drove that car for a week. It was really neat. It's a 49-51 weight distribution, 50-50 you can call it. That's what I did, called it 50-50. And I can tell you the car handles really well. The gear shift, you just put your arm down and there's the gear shift knob. I mean, no wonder so many people that buy the Miata MX-5s, race them on the weekends, even the non-pros. And no wonder so many people that buy one buy a second one. Anyway, you can go to facebook.com/Bobby Likis, that's Likis, and see our review just released yesterday. Also on Twitter and Pinterest and also Tumblr. And you can watch us right here at Watch Bobby Live on YouTube. It's true HD, 100% ad-free, and you can rewind, pause, and add me on Google Plus straight from your YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. Stay tuned each week for our special social media giveaways. Next week, we do have another. Stay tuned each week for our special social media giveaways. Next week, we do have another giveaway, another set of Polestar Pulse spark plugs that we're going to be giving away next week. But all you have to do is just like us on Facebook. Like us, you'll love us. You got that? Yeah, right. Okay, sales. I mentioned sales. Gas prices first. $3.59, down 10 cents. Down, really, from a year ago. Yep, 10 cents. And on the West Coast, it's under $4. It's $3.92. So that's down 7 cents on the West Coast. So that just shows you that something's going on there to control gas prices. Some of that something is the opportunity for us to use ethanol blended fuels because ethanol is less expensive than gasoline. And when you mix ethanol with gasoline, the overall price of the gasoline comes down. And speaking of ethanol, for the 6th year in a row, motorcycle enthusiasts from around the world will be able to learn more about ethanol, courtesy of the Renewable Fuels Association at the famous, and I say famous, 74th Annual Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, taking place coming up this next week, August 4th through the 10th. And the Renewable Fuel Association's message is to ride safe and fuel right. That'll be seen everywhere, including the main stage. And speaking of the main stage, fuel right. That'll be seen everywhere, including the main stage. And speaking of the main stage, folks, this is really wild. We may even go to Sturgis, in our dreams at least. There you go. Yeah, Tony.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm there.
I'm telling you. Well, Leonard Skinner, Collective Soul, Zach Brown Band, John Mayall, Alice Cooper.
School's out.
Yeah. ZZ Top and Cheap Trick. They're all going to be at Sturgis. Additionally, free fuel happy hours. Now get this now. They're backed by popular demand. The Renewable Fuels Association offers riders a free tank of E10 93 octane between 1 and 4 p.m. on Tuesday, August the 5th, Wednesday, August the 6th, or Thursday, August the 7th. And our good friend Robert White, we've had the pleasure of meeting him several times at events across the nation. Robert White is the Director of Market Development, who will provide real-time coverage from the event for you folks right here on Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And you can follow Robert at twitter.com/fuelinggood. You got it? Makes you feel good, I know. But anyway, twitter.com/fuelinggood. And check out the story on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Bobby Likis. And we'll be talking with Robert White, our Facebook page at facebook.com/Bobby Likis. And we'll be talking with Robert White soon and get the lowdown of what's going on at Sturgis. And so at least, Tony, we can have travel there through Robert White.
We'll pretend.
Yeah, pretend.
We'll pretend that we're there in spirit.
Yeah, spirit. Okay, in spirit is right. Chrysler, supercharged Hellcat Challenger SRT, 700 and plus horsepower. Actually, 707 horsepower. I don't know where they get this 707. I think that's just what it ends up on the dyno, 707. I'll share a little more information with you in the next hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Watch BobbyLive.com. I'll take your calls. We'll have some car fun on the second hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Take a break. Don't touch your dial. Come back to see me soon. Like us, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple, same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. The corn as food versus fuel duel is emotional, not factual. Fact is that ethanol is produced from field corn for livestock, not sweet corn for humans. And ethanol production from field corn utilizes only the starch. Remaining vitamins, protein, and fiber are sold as livestock feed. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Well, spank my bottom and call me polyethylene. I'm recyclable. Hi, Tom Bodette from Motel 6. In the spirit of conservation, this commercial uses 100% recycled words. Yep, just like water bottles or cans of garbanzo beans. I've used all 160-odd words in this commercial before to describe Motel 6, like clean, comfortable, and lowest price of any national chain. That was a whole six-pack I just recycled there. I figure why make new words when those work just fine? So I can tell you what I just recycled there. I figure why make new words when those work just fine? So I can tell you what a great value Motel 6 always has been and still is without contributing to a verbal landfill or increasing my jargon footprint. I see it as doing our part to conserve our precious verbal resources, and that feels pretty good. Almost as good as saving money. I bet this will sound familiar too. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you. Book online at motel6.com.
My name's Roland Sands. I am a motorcycle builder, designer. Generally kind of stoked to bring things in my head to reality. That's what it is all about, bringing an idea to life. I mean, there's no more complete circle than that. That's the challenge, you know? I was around motorcycles, I mean, since I can remember, really. It's kind of been in my blood. When I was 18, I was like a drug addiction, man. Nothing else in my life really mattered a whole lot. It was like, I'm gonna go out and ride and race and try and win. So that's what I did for about 10 years. And I didn't know I was going to be a national champion, and I didn't know that I'd end up winning national road races and breaking track records and racing at the highest level. I really wanted to go and make something of myself that didn't really have to do with anybody else, because I knew that no one would be able to take that away from me, you know? Pushing myself seems kind of like a way of life. Every time I was on a bike, I'd push, and I'd always push past the limit, and now I really get the majority of my satisfaction from creation. I don't know, some people call me one of the top builders, I guess I am, but what's different is in this realm of building motorcycles, it's not about being the best as much as it's about just creating and wanting to build new stuff and cool stuff. To constantly innovate is the challenge, always doing something new and different. And today it's so tough because there's so many people building really great things, it's hard to stand out, you know? So you gotta constantly push. Creating something, it is about bringing something to life. A motorcycle to me is like the personification of that because it like involves so many different things. It involves art, fabrication, design, engineering, rubber, steel, aluminum, titanium, paint, wood, whatever you can throw at it. So motorcycles are to me like the finest display of bringing an idea to life, making it real, making something you can actually touch, feel, and ride. That's what it's all about. Being on a bike for me is just essential to life. It's the purest expression of freedom and mobility. The faster you go, the harder you ride, the harder you push. You feel it so much more on a motorcycle. If you're going 100 miles an hour, you know it. It's draining physically, but also mentally, because you put so much focus into it. When you're on a bike, it strips everything else away. It just makes anything else in your life disappear. I'll never be away from bikes. It's just what I do, what my family does, what everyone I know does. So safe to say I'll be around for a little while. I don't see any other way for me personally but to just go after it every day. It just makes sense to me, so that's what I do. Life is one big project. You gotta hit it every day.
Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And you can also call 888 Car Clinic. That's another number that we bought so that we can supply with you an easier to remember number. That's 888-227-2546. I can exchange it for the numbers to a real number for you. But if you're driving down the road, just remember 888 Car Clinic. That's 888 Car Clinic. And if you're driving down the road, just remember 888 Car Clinic. That's 888 Car Clinic. And Jan will take your call and put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. I see the phones are already ringing, and we do have an early caller that's in the queue now. I want to remind you this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. You need new brakes? Find the brake parts you need at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Brands you can trust: Brake Best Select, and Wagner Thermoquiet. At guaranteed low prices, O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. And speaking of auto parts, Carlson Quality Brake Hardware Kits. Not all brake hardware is the same, folks. Always replace your brake hardware and insist on Carlson Quality Brake Hardware for a certified fit and performance. And just to share this with you, at Car Clinic Service Pre-Repair, we have an advantage over our competitors. That advantage is that we use the Carlson Quality Brake Hardware whenever we do a brake job. That's an advantage. Makes us look good, makes the job better. Back with your calls. Don't touch your dial. Whether you're a DIYer or a brake professional, be sure your brake job is complete by replacing all the brake hardware with Carlson Quality Brake Hardware. Why? A brake job is more than simply replacing shoes and pads. Fact is, when you also replace springs, clips, and other hardware parts that hold all brake components in place, your brakes will perform better and last longer. It's a small investment to ensure your brake job is complete and done right. Invest in the best. Invest in Carlson Quality Brake Hardware Kits with every brake job.
O'Reilly. If stubborn bugs and road grime are making it difficult to see what's ahead, let Rain-X Bug Remover Windshield Washer Fluid clear the way. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today and buy 2 gallons of Rain-X Bug Remover Windshield Washer Supply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. On May 15th, CARD, or the Center for Agricultural and Rural Development, released a study from economists at the University of Wisconsin and Iowa State University examining the impact of increased ethanol consumption on decreased wholesale gasoline prices. Their findings indicate that in 2011, ethanol reduced wholesale gasoline prices by $1.09 per gallon nationally, saving the average American household $1,200 last year. Be informed. For study details, go to ethanolrfa.org and CARD 2012 in the search bar, rfa.org, and key in CARD 2012 in the search bar. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Drive to ethanolrfa.org. That's ethanolrfa.org.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
First rule of business: hard work equals success. That's why Geico is consistently rated excellent or better in terms of financial strength. Second rule: don't steal a co-worker's egg salad, especially if it's Mark the Gecko. Come on, people. Geico is the 3rd largest car insurance company in the nation, but it's not like we're kicking back now having a cup of tea. Takes a lot of sweat to become that big. Of course, geckos don't literally sweat. It's just not our thing. But I do work hard, mind you.
Home. It's the place you like to make warm and inviting. What could be more welcoming than the aroma of fresh coffee brewing? When the coffee is Starbucks, the experience only gets richer. You'll find Starbucks coffee at your grocery store, so you can enjoy it at home. Its distinctive roasting style and rich, authentic taste show how seriously we pursue the art of coffee. Savor its aroma, then pour a cup and invite your senses to take flight. Starbucks coffee at your grocery store.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started. Right along with me this hour, and let's talk cars. 888 Car Clinic. That's the number that you can reach me. Jan will take your call, put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. Let's go to Ross with an 02 Ford F-150, and then I see John. We're going to come to you next. Ross, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Well, thank you, Bobby. I got a question about my the truck. The catalytic converter is bad.
Okay.
And you know how they say some things are just not humanly possible. Well, I was told by a service technician of something that I think is mechanically impossible. But what the issue is, it was missing, and they said, well, the coil, spark plug combination, whatever it is, on number 8 cylinder is bad and needs replacing.
Okay.
And he said that it's because the catalytic converter on the right side was bad. I don't see the connection there. I don't see how. I
think it's the other way around.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the other way. I think he I think there's a lack of communication or misinformation there. The converters after the fact.
Exactly.
and here's one thing that not to really get into and here's one thing that not to really get into technical, but there's an oxygen sensor that tests the air-fuel ratio. It tests more for oxygen, as its name implies, than it does for fuel, oxygen or a lack thereof. So if it's a lack of oxygen, it's too much fuel. If there's too much oxygen, it's too lean. So the pre-CAT O2 sensor, which means it's between the engine and the catalytic converter, tells the computer whether or not the air-fuel ratio or the engine's running too rich or too lean, and it adjusts the air-fuel ratio. That's what that purpose does. If the engine, for some reason, doesn't burn the fuel, i.e. you've got a bad spark plug or a bad coil, then you still have fuel coming out, and that will literally overwork the catalytic converter and can damage the converter. The converter is after the fact, and I'm with you. I think there's just a little, the words were backwards. You're right.
All right. Thank you, Bobby.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling. 888-227-2546. 888-227-2546. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Escort. Take your ticket protection to the max with the Passport Max, the first and only detector with HD radar performance. Visit escortradar.com to learn more. That's HD radar performance. Visit escortradar.com to learn more. That's escortradar.com. So I'm driving along Interstate 10. I'm headed west. That's right. Yeah. I'm headed west on Interstate 10. And I've got my Passport Max on my dash. I've got that unit set for a warning to warn me if I exceed the speed limit by 10 miles per hour. And the Escort has a GPS system built in, and it knows automatically whether I'm in town or on the interstate what this posted speed limit is. And it warns me. So I'm running 79 miles per hour in a 70 zone, so I'm within the 10 mile per hour limit. All of a sudden, I hear a phone ring. I said, what is that? It's never happened before. My passport had in capital letters, laser. And it's the first time it had ever happened to me. I don't know if it's the first time I was ever lasered or not. I guess it was. But it happened. And but I didn't see any police cars. I didn't see any lasers. I didn't see anyone on the side of the road. And I'm very familiar with that particular section of the road. A mile up the road, in the dense forest, there were two cars there waiting with a speed trap. And this happened to me this past Monday. 2 cars there waiting with a speed trap. And this happened to me this past Monday. And I got to tell you, and Kathy, I'm going to come to you in Washington, and John, I'm coming to you. But folks, I'm going down the road, minding my own business, listening to the radio, and my passport goes off, and all I could say was, Ron Jividan, Ron Jividan, Ron Jividan. And I was jumping up and down in my seat, you know, and I said, what are you doing, Likis? But it was so much, it was so interesting because it really was the first time that really ever happened, and my passport Max said laser right there in big bold print. And who is Ron Jividan? He's our friend from Escort who came down and was my co-host last year. And we talked not only about radar detectors, but we talked about the technology and the competition where they have the shootout every year. All the radar companies that make radar for police enforcement and all the radar detector companies, they all go down there and try to shoot their wares, shoot holes in their wares. And Escort won, by the way. Okay, you can go to escortradar.com for more information. Let's go to John. John, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding.
Bobby, very interesting. Thanks for sharing that with us.
It was like, you know, I just, you know, it was it was the most enjoyment I had on my Monday, which is it was the most enjoyment I had on my Monday, which is my day that I take off, having worked the radio for 23 years, and it was just really a lot of fun. I wasn't speeding anyway. But the bottom line is, it just shows you a safety factor, very aware, and that's been proven that folks that use a radar detector, it doesn't have to be an Escort, of course I prefer, and they prefer, but it just shows you that you're a safer driver and more alert, that's for sure. Anyway, let's talk about why you called.
Okay, I'm into automobile racing, and if you'll let me say my website in a few minutes, the audience may have an interest in. I need manufacturers of certain types of race automobiles, race cars. I just want to throw out a little bit of a trivia question about the history of automobiles manufactured with wood framing, and you probably know the answer to this. What company was the last one to manufacture the framing under the car out of wood, and about what decade was that?
Well, Morgan, of course, still makes its cars out of wood.
Yes.
Yeah, was that, I don't know what year that was.
Is Morgan still doing that with wood?
Morgan still makes cars with wood, and there's a backlog to this day, yes.
Oh, boy, somebody said they quit doing that in the 1950s, but I'm glad to hear something different.
I have pictures in my on my Mac top.
But I'm glad to hear something different.
I have pictures in my on my Mac top of the Morgan car, and you know that's an old-fashioned, kind of looks like an MG, you know, but they've got a hatchback, or looks like a hatchback, that is drop dead gorgeous, and it's a Morgan. But you know, there are a lot of companies that use wood. I mean, that's what they used years and years ago. But the Morgan, yeah, it's unbelievable how they make and fabricate that vehicle out of wood, and then they wrap metal around that wood. I just can't imagine that it doesn't squeak and rattle. But obviously they use you know, epoxy and glue. And you know, a lot of new cars are glued together now. Glue and rivets. What the Jaguar aluminum body, that's how it's held together. Because you don't weld aluminum, you rivet aluminum. Anyway.
You absolutely surprised me. I had something to learn. I thought they had quit doing that. What state do they work? They're in the USA, right?
No, they're UK.
UK is where Morgan is?
Yes, sir.
As you know, like a locomotive is a passion of mine, and I think all our vehicles in the whole world should run that way, the way the locomotives do. And that some of our race cars, the 3 different versions of race cars for 24-hour electric endurance racing, is what I'm trying to have manufacturers. And someone in the audience may have the ability to do that and the passion to do manufacturers. And someone in the audience may have the ability to do that and the passion to do that. If you'll let me say my website, they can see more about it.
Well,
may I do that?
Sure.
Okay. I use the word sports because racing is a sport. It's thesportscommissionerjohnjoyner.com. Those 5 words together. thesportscommissionerjohnjoyner.com, and they'll explain in there the 3 different types of race automobiles I'm looking for. I already have drivers. I already have a racetrack for it approved, And of course, we might even get this in Daytona. I think we can.
Well, if you get it in Daytona, you'll have, I start to say your toe in the water, but you'd have your foot in the water if you because Daytona is the mecca. I mean, the Indianapolis 500 and the Daytona 500 are the two most famous races in the world. I know the 24-hour Le Mans is a huge race, and in Europe, Formula One racing is huge. And I personally think that the Formula One car, I know, it's the most sophisticated race car on the planet. Having said that, I don't go to a dealership on Monday after seeing a car race on Formula One and want one of those. In the first place, it takes about $250 million. I read the other day that if you had an extra $1 billion, you can dollars. I read the other day that if you had an extra $1 billion, you could sponsor Formula One 4 years. Hey, so yeah, maybe John, your electric racing is going to be better. And by the way, just as an FYI, Donald Panos, and you're familiar because he owns the Sebring track. Donald Panos is in a real, at odds with Nissan over their Delta Wing car. Hey, John, thanks for calling. And folks, don't go away. Don't touch that dial. Your calls at 888 Car Clinic when I come back. Whether driving to work or for sport, your vehicle needs to perform, often in an instant. Stant brings original equipment expertise to their line of quality aftermarket products. Today's Instant Product Spotlight is on Stant thermostats. Proactive trumps reactive in both the human and automotive bodies. So when replacing your vehicle's coolant, proactive vehicular health calls for a new thermostat. Reach for the thermostat professional installers prefer. Stant. Just hold one. You'll feel the difference. Stant's premium-grade USA-made Superstat thermostat has a heavier gauge stainless steel housing and larger heat motor for better temperature control. And Superstat's heavy-duty springs help return it to a closed position to prevent cold running. Stant's patented weir valve construction gets coolant flowing as the thermostat starts to open, helping the Stant's patented weir valve construction gets coolant flowing as the thermostat starts to open, helping the engine get to peak operating temperature quicker. And remember, Superstat thermostats come with a limited lifetime warranty. Drive to stant.com for more or find them on Facebook.
My car's a sauna. What's with this air conditioning?
You need an AC Pro.
You got me confused with somebody else.
You're a pro with new do-it-yourself AC Pro, the 10-minute cold air solution.
But
You know where to find the hood?
That thing up front?
Exactly. AC Pro's easy, fast, and saves you money. You'll have your car's AC blowing cold air in minutes.
Says we can save with Progressive.
Well, with online, homeowners, and multi-car discounts, saving on car insurance is easy.
So you're saying she's right?
I'm saying get used to it.
Get great savings and more at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Mayfield Village, Ohio. Discounts not available in all states. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Every year there are over 20 million car wrecks in this country. It's not pretty. But people bang out the dents, rebuild them, and resell them to, well, maybe you, bucko. If you're buying a used car, it's a crapshoot. Get a vehicle history report from Carfax.com. They'll give you the real history on any used car. Visit CARFAX.com or ask your dealer for a Carfax report. Don't buy a used car without Carfax.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for tuning in every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time. I'm right here from the studios of Bobby Likis Car Clinic, the center of the automotive universe. We reach across the globe, literally, on watchbobbylive.com, thanks to my team and our producer, Tony Gregory, who is a proud new father. How's the new baby, Tony?
Well, she's keeping us up at night, but she's great. She's great.
She's great, yeah.
She's beautiful. She's perfect.
Yeah, she is beautiful. Beautiful girl. He's got the $1 million family. He's got a 2.5-year-old. Elijah's what, 2.5?
It'll actually be 3 at the end of this month.
Wow.
So basically 3-year-old
wow.
boy.
3-year-old boy and a 7-day-old.
Yeah, about 10 days old.
About 10 days old girl.
Yeah.
How cool.
Thank you.
I want to reach out to Curran Wade, by the way. WYBG 1050 AM in Messina, New York. Curran Wade is the general manager and program director, and a friend of Car Clinics and a whale of a guy. But it's not that's important. It's what he's doing to raise money for the St. James Elementary School in Messina. It's a charity golf tournament, and coming up August the 10th at 1 p.m., which, as I said, will help raise funds for St. James Elementary School, will be held at the Emerald Greens Gold Course in Juvenile, New York. I hope it's pronounced right, Juvenile, New York. It includes lots of prizes, including some from Car Clinic. My team sent some bling up there, T-shirts and koozies, and probably a car mouse. I'm proud to say that we have been an affiliate, or they've been our affiliate. We've been associated with WYBG 1050 AM for years there in Messina. So hats off to Curran Wade and for all of the folks there that help raise money for this event, this annual event, and that's August 10th at 1 p.m. at the Greens Gold Course in Juvenile, New York. Money for the St. James Elementary School. Let's take a call from Kathy in Washington. Kathy, thanks for holding.
Thank you for taking my call.
You're welcome. What
I'm
can I
a
do for you?
fan of yours, and I love your show. And recently, I have an '07 Camry Hybrid we bought new in '06.
Okay.
We've always taken it to the same dealer, always had dealer service on time, take good care of our cars.
Yes.
And normally I get about 38 or 39 on the highway mileage. But recently it's dropped down to 24 and 26.
Wow.
And I just took it in for service and said, hey, all of a sudden this has happened. There's been no other things happening with the car. Is there a fuel filter in line or something, or is the battery going down? It's got about 139,000 miles on it, runs like a dream, and they really had nothing to tell me. They wanted to just take it in and start running a whole bunch of diagnostics without having a clue. I'm wondering, do you have anything in your history that you can tell me what would be causing that?
Here's what comes to my mind.
Okay.
And I saw you in the queue before, and so my mind racing the way it does. I saw that Miss Jan had put in the gas mileage has dropped drastically. That's all I saw in '07. So I was thinking before I took your call that maybe here's an '07 car, so maybe the battery, maybe it's time for the battery to be replaced in this '07 Camry. And when hybrids first came out, I mean '97 Prius, when those cars first came out, those of us in the automotive service industry, Kathy, said, well, gosh, in 4 years you're going to buy a $3,000 battery or $4,000 or $5,000 battery, and that was a big concern. And then, so being the nature that I am, I did some due diligence and saw that and deduced that, and looking ahead, this was years ago, that you wouldn't have to buy a new battery because there would be manufacturers, there would be a market then created for remanufactured batteries, which would take your existing battery and replace the parts that were worn in it, the cells that were worn in it. So, that's the way I felt, and that actually has come to fruition because there is a company that Tony and I visited at SEMA last year, and where they had the battery. And Tony, the name of that company is Dorman. And
okay. You're talking about the Remand?
The Remand battery, yeah. And so the bottom line, Kathy, it's possible, it sounds plausible that your battery needs to be replaced. Now, I want to say this. Our concerns and fears about all these cars that are running around after 3 or 4 years needing batteries was unfounded. That batteries going bad has not been a problem for electric cars or for Priuses or hybrids. So I'm not suggesting that your battery is bad, but I am suggesting that you and I think along the same terms because it is a hybrid. So the first thing that we think of, well, the gas mileage has dropped down, so the engine's doing all the work, the battery's not doing its work. So let's back up. When you're at a traffic light and you're in town, the battery, of course, gas mileage controls the gas mileage. How is your in-town gas mileage as compared not to the highway, but to what it was historically?
Yeah, that's dropped as well. Like it's dropped completely across the board.
Okay. Then
and we don't. You have to understand, we have maybe 10 stoplights in our town.
I got you.
So we're not sitting at stoplights very often.
Yeah.
But we did go to Seattle this last weekend, and specifically watched our gas mileage. When we're in traffic,
Sure.
and it's the same thing. We were down all across the board. Which I went, could it be a fuel injector? Could it be I don't know.
Well, there could be too many things that you and I we could spend hours, saying, well, it could be oxygen sensors. It could be, I guess the question, can you tell me, has any check engine light come on?
Nope, I've never had a check engine light. However, twice was waiting to get in the car wash. I did have a low battery light come on.
See that you've got evidence. Number one, age of the vehicle, and miles, but more age than miles. Miles really doesn't hurt, and that's another revelation being in the business. I mean, we used to think at 75 or 80,000 miles, you had to replace engines. This is years ago. Now people call me with 200,000 miles, and my car needs a tune-up or needs a injector or the wipers don't work. I mean, it's just not a factor any longer because of the technology and metallurgy and better control of machines and the machines that make the engine parts. So, having said that, let's simplify. And what I think that needs to be done is to have them, and them being the dealer that you mentioned, ask them what specific tests they have, and there's got to be, and there are tests, but there has to be a specific charging battery life test and the stamina of the onboard battery, and I want you to remember this. I don't know the principles of this company. We did stop and talk to them, the Dorman company, because I was so interested that they had a battery that was a plug and play, a drop in. Now, and I want you to understand, not to get too technical, but to replace the battery in your hybrid Camry, you also have to reprogram. You have to put the battery in and then program because there are modules. I mean, it's not a trivial pursuit because it's an engine. I mean, it's the drives the electric part of the car. The Dorman company makes a unit that is a plug and play. It is a drop in, and it's programmed for your car, and can literally be the Owen removed with modules and this one plugged in. So I want to share that with you because it's just possible that your option that may be presented to you as replacement for a new assembly at whatever, let's say it's $5,000, who knows. But this is a way for you to save money, and I would love for you to save money, and I get the credit for it because that's my hot button. That's what I do. I mean, I not that I don't get paid to fix cars, because I do, but the bottom line is whenever I can do the best job and save someone money at the same time, then hats off to me and my team, and that's what life's about for a lot of automotive technicians and automotive repair businesses, be it independent, chain store, or dealership. I mean, that's what drives us. We love that challenge, and we love to solve that challenge. So here's what my suggestion is to you. Take it in to the dealer, ask them if they have a standard procedure battery test for your particular automobile, and if they're a dealer and they're a Toyota dealer and you've got a Camry, they're going to have a specific test, and then pay them and ask them, okay, after this test, what information will I have? What will be results? And and Kathy, you want to make sure that you don't go in there and say, you got one of those machines you plug in, tells me everything's wrong with my car, because there's no such machine. But so we have to do test 1, test 2, test 3, but you don't start with test 3, you start with test 1. That's what you want them to do. The preliminary main test they have whenever there's an automobile that's giving the symptoms that you have. You got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you so very much.
You're welcome so very much. And let me know, if what you hear doesn't sound right to you, you can always reach back to me. You can go another week, buy a little more gas, and I will confer with my team, and I will get you the information that you need. And there's also some online, not that I'm suggesting you go online, but alldata.com is one of the companies that we use, and they do a great job in their technical service bulletins. I was just there this week looking for my own car, because it's a 13 model, and I was trying to get a head start to see if there are any recalls or something that I didn't know about that had to do with my own car, and there weren't. I mean, my car's up to date, but that's the way I keep it up to date. That and the fact that there's a great dealership in Mobile, Joe Bullard. They do a fantastic job, Gulf Coast Jag, and they really do a great job. And maybe they treat me special. I don't know, but everybody should feel like you get treated special when you go to a service shop. So if you're in the service business, folks, make every customer that comes in feel like he or she has been treated special, and you will serve your customers. Kathy, thank you so much and good luck with your Camry. We will talk again, I'm sure. And folks, I mentioned early on the supercharged Hellcat Challenger SRT. Chrysler said its new supercharged 6.2-liter V8 engine has been certified at 707 horsepower and 650 pound-feet of torque. That is unbelievable. It's a $60,000 car, just $5 short of that. I'll be back. Don't touch your dial.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
I'm Bobby Likis with today's Drive Smarter tip, brought to you by Escort, the world's best radar and laser detectors. For best road trip MPG, do you roll your windows down or use AC? Based on aerodynamics, a slick car with windows up offers less resistance and glides through air more easily, using less gas at highway speeds, even with the AC on. This Drive Smarter tip is brought to you by Escort's Passport Max, the first and only all-digital detector with HD radar performance. Don't just drive, drive smarter. Escort.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another great place to use Visa.
They giggle and jiggle, they jump and they sing, they poke and they play with most wondrous things. And that's just the parents. At Creative Kid Stuff in Minneapolis, you'll find the most enchanting toys and games for kids of all ages. But if you want to bring home their innovative playthings, you better bring your Visa card. Because at Creative Kid Stuff, you can let your child's imagination run wild, but you can't use American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
There are over 358 million trillion gallons of water on Earth. But not all water is created equal. Only 1/1000,000,000% is filtered naturally beneath the Earth, with a distinct balance of minerals, and emerges crisp and refreshing enough to be called Zephyr Hills. Zephyr Hills 100% natural spring water, born better.
You, my friend, have connections in the government. Yes, you. USA.gov, the official source for government information on thousands of topics. And like any good connection, there's no telling where it can take you. Why, one day you're getting student loan information. Next thing you know, you need job hunting tips. Today's road construction info could have you searching for telecommuting ideas tomorrow. The more you use USA.gov, the more uses you'll find for it. Passport applications, for example. They've been known to lead to a sudden interest in travel advisories. Our new mobile apps will even update you on the go. So whether you have information to get or ideas to give your government, check out USA.gov. Who knows? Lottery results today could lead to retirement planning tomorrow. USA.gov. With the right connections, there's no telling where you can go.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back. I mentioned to Bobby Likis Car Clinic, I mentioned that the Chrysler Group has a new vehicle that is first out. In fact, a gentleman that I know, a friend of mine, has ordered the first Hellcat Challenger SRT with 707 horsepower. And folks, just to give you a little comparison, the Viper SRT has 640 horsepower. Now we're comparing 707 horsepower of the Challenger Hellcat and 650 pound-feet of torque. The Viper has 640 horsepower and 640 pound-feet of torque. The new Corvette Z06 has 625 horsepower and 635, and Lamborghini Aventador has 700 horsepower and 507 pound-feet of torque. Here's Chrysler with 707. So they're making some pretty good media, because here I am talking about it. But I think it's really interesting that also, FYI, it's just been released that the new Viper is going to have more than 700 horsepower. So it's probably going to have, what, 707, 708.
707.5.
0.1. But anyway, the point is that if it's a buyer's market, folks, if manufacturers aren't making the car that you want, just wait about 6 months and they'll be coming out with them. Let's go to Oregon and talk with Don. And if you'd like to get in, plenty of time to take your calls at 888-227-2546. That's 888 Car Clinic. And I want to share with you some Ford Motor Company information about the F-150 new aluminum body that I can categorically tell you is going to outsell all Fords historically. And there's going to be some challenges too, but I'll give you the weight loss, which will blow your mind. But first, Don, thanks for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi, Bobby.
Hi.
I've got a 2001 Chevy Impala.
Okay.
And I get this knocker in the steering wheel, and the mechanics around here or something said, you got to live with that. We've tried to repair it, and it comes right back. And it just doesn't seem logical to me that Chevrolet hasn't solved that problem.
Well, the irony of your call, I had 3 or 4 weeks ago, a lady called me from Binghamton, New York, who had an 06 Impala that had some noise underneath the chassis, and she took it to her dealer there, and they said, well, they all do that, and she wanted my opinion, and I said, well, if they all do it, then look on their car lot and find a car that's the same year as yours and go drive it, and see if it does it, and or did your car always make that noise? And so the answer, we already know the answer, Don. No, when it's new, it didn't make the noise, and I'm sure that your car at one time did not make that noise. Mm-hmm. And so I disagree with that. And I think that all items on an automobile, chassis, suspension, doors, I think it should all work as new. And I know that as a car ages, there's more and more attention required. And there's some aches and pains and rattles and shakes that occur. However, having said that, I truly believe that with your vehicle, the rack mounts and the sway bar ends, they're like tie rod ends, or sway bar bushings. There's definitely a wearable. There's definitely either a rubber or a fabric or even a steel joint, like a ball joint, that is worn and can be replaced. I would just ask you this, and I would, do you think that my car, I would live with that? And if so, I think you should ask the individuals that told you that they all do that, or that's normal. Ask them if they would live with that, because it's like going to a doctor and say, I've got a pain in my right knee. Oh, don't worry about it. Or I got a pain in my chest. Well, it'll go away. So, and I'm not being facetious. I'm just telling you that there's only one standard, and I know that not everyone wants their car to be perfect. And there's nothing perfect, but it can be darn close. And I think that for the individual that keeps his or her car as close to roadworthy as possible, and whenever there's a noise, it's easy. If you got a dozen noises, where do you start? So if you keep that list short, then it's easier to fix that list being what the car needs to have done. So I said all that to say this. I totally disagree with the answer that you got, and I suggest you get a second opinion.
Yeah, that one of them was the dealer, another one was another mechanic, and so I will find somebody that can really help me get that, go through the front end and make sure everything's okay.
Well, have you taken a technician for a ride, you and a technician?
No.
I want you to do that.
Okay.
Can you make this vehicle make this noise anytime you please?
Every time it drives.
Well, that's just not, we're not talking rocket science here. We're just talking about someone that would give you the time of day and their time. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to go to yet a third shop. And let me give you a website where you can find several shops, okay?
Okay.
That website is asashop.org. And ASA stands for Automotive Service Association, of which I'm a member, and there are hundreds of members, thousands of members. But asashop.org, and you can plug in your zip code and plug in 5 miles or 10 miles, and you get a list of shops. And you can just, so before you leave your home, call a couple or three of the shops. Don't ask for prices. Just ask them, talk with them, and just see how willing they are to spend time with you on the phone. Not that they can fix your car on the phone, but
right.
you'll get a sense, you get that inner sense, Don, of somebody that gives a darn. And
right.
and they say and then at some point in time you can mention, I would, that you've been told by others. You don't have to slam other shops. I don't like shops that slam other shops. I abhor that. But you can just mention that. Well, I've had some that told me I just have to live with it, and see what kind of reaction you get, and you'll put a burr under somebody's saddle, because if you tell me that somebody told you had to live with an oil leak or with an ache or a pain or a groan or a knock, then you've really got me interested. And so you can go from there. I mean, you got me hooked right now. So that's what I would suggest that you do, because I wouldn't live with it, and you don't have to either.
Very good. That's good advice. I appreciate that, Bobby.
Yeah, my pleasure, Don. Thank you. Thanks for calling.
You bet. Bye.
Bye-bye. 888-227-2546. Plenty of time to get your call on. 888 Car Clinic. And not so much plenty time with the sweepstakes. You got till August the 20th. And the sweepstakes our sweepstakes offers real money, real cash. I mean, a $500 gas card from yours truly. A Passport Max radar laser detector from Escort. It's a $550 value. I've got one. A royal purple leather lambskin jacket, which is drop dead gorgeous, so soft. And a $250 Visa card from the Renewable Fuels Association, the ethanol folks. So all of these prizes are in a pot. And that pot is under carclinicsweepstakes.com. You simply go to Car Clinic Sweepstakes and you answer the question, and your name will be in the hat. So that's what I would recommend. And you've got till August the 20th, because then we're going to pull the trigger, and you might want to be the winner. It's easy for you to do. I mentioned Ford Motor Company and the details on the F-150. Let me share this with you. You've all heard of magic devices that make cars get better gas mileage. We've all heard the story. Yeah, they made a carburetor that got 100 miles per gallon, and the oil companies bought that car. Tony, you ever heard that story? That's because of your age that you haven't heard that story. I mean, literally. But that story for 50 years has been around. Yeah, this John Doe invented a carburetor that got 100 miles per gallon, and the oil companies bought it and destroyed it, or they got it on the shelf. They're keeping it from us, which is stupid. It's not the carburetor, it's not the fuel that makes gas mileage. It's power to weight ratio. Power to weight ratio. That's one of the gas mileage, the main gas mileage factor. I said that to say this. So how do you take an F-150 and bump the gas mileage up to 29 miles per gallon? How do you do that with a truck?
Bring the weight down.
Right, exactly. And here's what they're doing. In a direct comparison with a steel body 2014 F-150, Ford showed a 732-pound weight difference. Same truck, like truck, more than 700-pound estimate given when the 2015 pickup was revealed. This was at the 2014 North American International Auto Show. They weighed a 2014 truck, and then they weighed side by side a 2015 with aluminum body, and it was 732 pounds different, and they both had the base engine's 283 horsepower. So the bottom line is, when you think about MPG, and you've got a bowling ball or golf clubs or 3 or 4 sets in your trunk, just know you're paying a penalty for carrying that extra weight around. So how can you get better gas mileage in your car? Clean out the trunk. Make sure your tires have plenty of air. Make sure you use the low-grade, low-octane gasoline. Really? Really? Yeah, because if you use high-octane fuel, your engine has to be designed to require the anti-knock property of higher octane. So if you put higher octane property formulated fuel in an engine that does not, and it has not been designed for it, it will reduce the MPG of that engine. It'll also could cause cold start drive away, because the gasoline property is designed and formulated to withstand higher temperatures and higher compressions before it, so that it doesn't pre-ignite and doesn't detonate. So those are a lot of things that you can do for increase of gas mileage. I think it's really telling, and I want to go on record here before the 2015 F-150 hits the market to say that the sales of that truck are going to go and be over the top. And I also want to go on record here to say that there will be dealers and collision repair shops that will talk about, maybe complain a little bit, that's maybe not the right word, but that's the facts, about the fact that now they've got to retrain and they've got to buy new tools because it's the aluminum, and you don't fix aluminum bodies the way you fix metal bodies, steel bodies. And that's true, you don't. But make no mistake about it, Jaguar has a full aluminum body. A lot of the Bentleys, Mercedes has used an aluminum hood and deck lid since the 80s. A 560 SL Mercedes had aluminum deck lid. You could just literally, a child could open it. It was so light. Why do they do that? Because they remove weight, and that's a panel. It's easy to remove. Yes, a deck lid is easier to replace if damaged than a quarter panel, because a quarter panel has to be welded back in place and aligned and all those sorts of things. So there will be some challenges, and there will be some concerns from people that maybe would buy the F-150 2015 aluminum body, but for me and for my nickel, I couldn't, if I were a truck owner and wanted to be a truck owner, I couldn't wait to drive a 2015 and to buy a 2015. If I were going to buy a new truck, would be the Ford. And I don't sell cars, but I just share with you that 732 pounds is like taking the engine, transmission, and differential, that roughly, out of a car. So if you had your truck right now, your 2014 F-150, and you took the engine, transmission, differential out of it and weighed it, that's what the new 2015 aluminum body is going to weigh, ready to go. And very interesting, and I think very indicative of what the demonstrative is a better word of how the OEMs are working to meet the CAFE, 54.5 mile per gallon mandate. And how do you get the corporate average fuel economy up? Well, you start with the biggest, heaviest hitters. And what you know, when I say are losers, actually, and the losers would be the vehicles that give the corporate average fleet the worst economy or worst MPG, which is a truck, obviously. And to that end, from a national fleet standpoint, what vehicles would you suggest that we modify or update or upgrade with renewable fuels to reduce our dependency on foreign oil? It would be semis, because they get 6 miles per gallon. There's millions of them on the road, and it gets 6. So 10% increase in your car might not be much, but 10% increase in a 6 mile per gallon, that's a lot. So just think about that, and also think about getting social with me and seeing the car reviews for the Miata MX-5, for the Cadillac ELR electric, and for the Kia K900, which really surprised me. And I guess out of all those three cars, the K900, which is a luxury car for $60,000, was the most impressive. The Cadillac, I was impressed, but it was $82,000. Go to facebook.com/Bobby Likis. That's Likis. And next week, I'll see you same time, same station. Likis, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Grueling testing of E15, or 15% ethanol blended fuel, by the Department of Energy is in a league all its own. 86 vehicles were driven more than 6 million miles. That's 12 round trips to the moon. No discernible difference was found in engine wear between test fuels in model years 2001 and later. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Driving a cab in this town can